Welcome to the 10 Yards Back YouTube channel, Spotify, however you are watching this. Know that there are other ways to consume this delicious content. Either YouTube, 10 Yards Back, where you're probably watching, or if you just want to listen, you just want to kick back with some gin and juice, listen to this thing, head over to Spotify, 10 Yards Back on Spotify. I am there as well. Head over to Twitter and say, hey, Jim, why'd you bother with this? And I probably won't respond. All right, that's out of the way. Welcome to the round review for round 9 of the Betfred Super League. It was a round, wasn't it? It sure was a round. If we have a look at the fixtures, kicked everything off. Warrington Saints, then Leeds, Hull KR, Huddersfield Cass, Salford Leigh, Catalans, Wakefield, Hull FC, Wigan. Couple of good games in there, as I always say. Seems maybe that's my default. We'll have a look at how I thought the round was gonna go. I thought Saints would basically dominate, not dominate. I thought they would kind of eventually overturn them. Saints these days aren't really a dominating team, are they? But I thought that they would pip it. Hull KR 20-12. Castleford were gonna just edge Huddersfield in my mind. Leigh were always going to beat Salford, but I did say that Salford would get one back on them. So they weren't going to go nil on that one. And then Catalans Wakefield, I thought Catalans would just edge it with my suggestion of a drop goal there. Hull FC Wigan was always going to be Wigan. Now, this is where my humble pie comes in, because I wasn't completely right. I was mostly right. I had a prediction of a five away team victory, and it turns out it was just a 4, which puts it a joint second for away team victories this year. It's number 1 in red cards, thanks to old Hull KR, Siaso Sue and Ash Hanley. And I think it's about 3rd in points as well for the season, with about 227 points I think scored. Round 3 is just battering everyone for points at the minute, so no one's getting a look in. Anyway, back to the games. Thursday night, who saw that coming? Warrington just battered Saints, didn't they? It was hard to watch at points. Couple of controversial calls in there, perhaps, according to John Wilkin. And Saints fans, and a couple of Warrington fans as well, to be fair. I think that the refereeing was potentially a bit dubious. It wasn't a million miles off with Leeds, Hull KR. Leeds eked out a couple more points there than I thought they would. Castleford, Huddersfield just didn't quite have it, did they? I guess the amount of tries, right? Huddersfield just weren't quite pulling their weight there. It was a weird one, that game, wasn't it? Because Castleford seemed to just be lazily kind of getting in there through the Huddersfield defence, but then equally, the 2 tries that Huddersfield scored were amazing. So really, you would have thought if Huddersfield could have just held it together in defence, I think that their attack, when it was on, was actually better than Cass's in that game. But anyway, Salford Leigh just got a couple more points on Salford than I thought. Joe Shorrocks with that try. Good on you, man. Good on you, Joe. And again, all of these tries for Salford just seem to mean just so much to Joe as well, which was great to see. The Catalans Wakey game really turned out to be one to watch. I think it wasn't fireworky, but it was definitely one to watch. And my God, Wigan just found their form, didn't they, at the end there, as they are wont to do. So I got one wrong. The couple of points here or there, I think I was about right with where these games were going to end up. No one saw that Warrington game. I'm sorry, you can't hold that against me. That was special. All right. So what I'm going to do now, as part of my round reviews, I'm going to focus on one game in particular, and then I'll go into the impact that all these games have had in the season. So the game I'm going to choose is this one, the Saturday afternoon Catalans versus Wakefield game, the Dragons versus the Trinity, whatever the hell that is. Coming into the game, they're about even. You know, if you look at it's 7 versus 8. They've both got the same number of wins and same number of league points. It's just Catalans have got slightly better points difference, of course. Wakefield got a much better conversion rate than Catalans. In fact, I maybe don't even believe that is what their conversion rate is. That looks extremely low. So what I was saying coming into this is Catalans have got massive home field advantage. They always do. Wakefield did bring quite a big crowd in the end, but they are bringing them. That travel, I think, is sort of, it's fallen off a little bit. It's not as important as it used to be, but it still is that kind of omen, isn't it, on the day? So what I said was, in order to win this game, what Wakefield should do is kind of play it halfway and start everything a little bit further back. Don't rely on crashing over the try line. Take advantage of that young fullback, as I put it. Well, that young fullback ended up getting man of the match, so there was no taking advantage of him. I think you'd have come short if you'd have relied on Guillermo Aspero Biche being caught off guard, basically. But they did switch it up a little bit. So, I mean, they came out of the game really hot. I think they got a try disallowed for just a slight forward pass about 2 minutes in, but that really put their stamp on the game. It was basically them telling me, Jim, you don't know what you're talking about. We're not going to do what you said. We are actually going to turn this into a very physical battle. You know, there's not going to be many aerial attacks on this one, and that's fine. I understand. I understand they don't want to take my advice. So, I mean, the tries that Wakey got, they were all in the first half. All Wakey's tries were in the first half, and they were really good. Every one of them was quite an exciting try. So they were really putting it on, between... I mean, every one of them was basically set up off an offload. So it was really, really good, synergy, teamwork. They were all together in attack. Everyone where they needed to be. So the tries were good, but I think, to be honest, Catalan's defence was coming up a little bit lazy in that first half. The second try in particular, though it was really good, and I'll go into the tries in a minute. The Catalans defence just could have done, if they'd have done 5% more, they would have probably stopped at least one of those tries, maybe even two. The Griffin and the Jowett and the Hood try probably could have been saved with just a little bit of a stronger defence, but they were a bit lazy, I think. Now that being said, they did lose Tommy Makinson, so they didn't. I mean, Tommy Makinson would sit right in anyone's team, and to lose him to an HIA early on is pretty damning for a team. That being said, Wakey didn't really capitalise on that, so it really was only his attack and attack that was missing, because it was only really a few times they really went down Tommy's wing. They both got a yellow apiece in that first half, and when you think about it, Wakey lost a prop and Catalans lost a playmaker. Now, if they'd have been the other way around, if Catalans had lost a prop and Wakey would have lost a playmaker, I think that would have been the game for either one of those teams. I think that was kind of the game that they were playing. It was Kiri and Wagner got the yellows. Again, we'll get into that. Second half, very different. Again, this season's just a game, a lot of games of two halves, isn't it? Catalans came out, smashed the doors of Wakey in. They scored some tries, of course, because of the score. You can see what the scoreline was. But on top of those tries that they scored, they got 4 tries chalked off in about 15 minutes. 3 of them within about 6 minutes. So that's how pressing Catalans were being in that second half. They were really, really had Wakefield on the back foot. At half time, Kyle Amos sort of said in the commentary, the fizz has really gone out of this game, because there were just too many. Everyone was a bit tired. Two defences were lazy. Attacks were getting lazy. Hence the yellows. But in the second half, they really, really ramped it up, and Catalans kind of rescued the game a little bit, really, because Wakey's tries were all kind of early on. Catalans were all later on. There were a couple of errors at key points at the end of this that made it it made it difficult for Wakey to just do that marauding attack that they had been doing. That there was a real good effort late on for it, but by marauding I just mean like pushing on, relentless, which they were doing in the first half. In the second half they just couldn't quite get that going, and that's what led us to the scoreline we've got. All right, let's have a look at these tries then. So try number 1, Max Jowett at 16 minutes. Bear in mind I did remind you that Wakey have already had a try chalked off at this point, so they're kind of on the front foot already. I was confused when I first saw this try, because it was so quick. I didn't realize what had gone on. So the context of the game is that Tommy's just left the field for his HIA. We don't know what's going to happen to him yet, but Tommy Makinson's off. So I think it's Mason Lino decides, right, well, I'm going to capitalise on that. I'm going to throw it out towards that edge. They throw it out towards Tommy's wing. He's obviously not there. Passes it out to Griffin. Griffin gets tackled. So it's not on. Or is it? Griffin does an absolutely dirty offload to Max Jowett, and no one saw it coming, least of all the defence. And Max Jowett's just right through. There were a couple of players around him, but man, he just got straight through like a knife through butter. And scored that try, but it's all off that offload of Griffin. So just two players that connecting at exactly the right moment scored that try. All right, number 2. This is like this again this was an exciting try, because it's a second tackle. We're on the Catalans line again. They're not a man down. Obviously, Tommy's off at this point. They've got Laguerre on the wing, who is not a winger. He's a great player, but he's not a winger. So why on earth they would put him out there, I don't know. Second tackle on the line. Wake have really got time to think about this one. Be patient. Just really, really sit back, plan something, execute something. Take it easy, Wakefield. But that's when Caleb Hamlin-Uele gets the ball and just fucking goes at that line, and he's just absorbing defenders. One of the images I'll put up is how many Catalan defenders there were. Now, there's you watch him get the tackle, and to be honest, there was no way he was ever going to crash over. But I think the defence were worried that he was going to crash over, so they're just kind of holding him. They're just holding him. And this is what I'm saying with this lazy Catalans defence. Maybe it's not so lazy. Maybe it's a cautious defence. So they're happy to just hold him up, reset. I mean, there's 5 or 6 of them on him, so there's enough players on him until he just gets his arm out and flicks it onto Hood, who scores a try. I love Liam Hood. He's a massive, great personality. Just looks like one of the lads. Scores that try, struts off, feeling cocky. But again, right place, right time for Hood. Obviously, he was there to be the acting half, but God, the offload, the fact that he managed to get that offload, the fact that he'd absorbed so many defenders just meant that Liam Hood had no choice but to go over the line, because there was nothing but space. Great try. Now, Catalans bite back a little bit in the first half with Benjamin Garcia at 31 minutes. It's a classic Garcia try, really. Not really much on, to be honest, except for the fact that I think he spots that I think it's Max Jowett has just completed a tackle, and he's sort of on his way back. He's trying to decide, am I at marker, am I on the line? I don't know, because it's right on the try line. Ultimately, there's a little hole behind the ruck that, when you're on the try line, you don't really need. You really need just one marker up there, if any. Everyone get back on the line, no holes. And there's just that little hole there that Jowett just leaves. Garcia just takes advantage, straight through. Great. Catalans are thrilled at that. No, just shortly after this, so I think 35 and 36 minutes is when we end up with these 2 yellows. They're in very, very short order of each other. So Kiri gets his yellow, and it's again this old story of mitigation. What's mitigation? Now, the Kiri one, to be fair, like the defender, I think it was Raw, I can't remember who it was, did fall quite a lot and hit his shoulder. Like, you can see that what Kiri was actually trying to do was get him in the soft underbelly, as he catches the ball, ends up getting him in the head. Now, I just think it's a bit rough, that. It's a bit rough to give that as a yellow, because come on, man, I was aiming for his ribs and I got his head. What are the chances? I get it, forceful, dangerous, fine, all right, Kiri's off. Wagner is a bit of a different story. I think the Wagner card was like, he just didn't need to do it. All right, we had Fartilli in the tackle already. The tackle was basically complete on Partington, who's obviously a threat. The tackle, he was wrapped up. Wagner just comes in and just gives it a bit of beef, and I think it was, rather than there being mitigation, I think it's just maybe a height discrepancy between the two. He ends up just clocking him right in the head with his shoulder. Again, I feel like this shoulder head situation, it's become massive. I think maybe players are trying to keep their arms in so they don't do the swinging arms, because that's going to be potentially a red. Shoulders to the head, I don't know, was it always a thing? It just seems like it's a massive issue now. Anyway, 2 players off, both yellows. Like I said, Kiri, the playmaker for Catalans, Wagner, the prop for Wakey, and I think that's the way around we needed it to be to keep it an exciting game. I think if either one of them had gone from the other side, it would have been a walkover. All right, the second half. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, dear. I forgot about Josh Griffin's try. You can't forget about Josh Griffin's try, because this is one of the best tries of the season so far, I think. This is just players linking up in an exceptional way. I was listening to a friend of mine presents the Wakefield Trinity Heritage podcast. He was talking about it. He said it was like touch rugby, basically. Any time a defender came near, they were just offloading it. So it starts from about 40 metres out or 30 metres out, and you got Fartelli taking it up, attracts a couple of defenders. He's getting tackled, fires it out to Lino. Nothing untoward about that. We've seen that thousands of times this season already. But then, for some reason, like somehow, some way, Lino just chips it right out the back. No one sees it coming, and somehow Griffin's there. So you've had a prop, a scrum half, I think, Lino, you'd say, and a second row, all connected in the most beautiful, well-timed way, off the cuff way as well. Like, there's no way that they could plan that offload from Lino. It was bizarre. So you've got all these people just connecting so well. Griffin gets in for the try. Very well deserved. Very exciting try. All right. The second half is when the Dragons really fight back. Now, I think, to be honest, Wakefield were on the back foot for a lot of the second half, to be honest. They let Catalans in about 2 minutes into the half, a try. I've sort of warned Wakey last week, which obviously they didn't fucking listen to. Catalans have got a lot of options in the forwards, particularly they've got some big fucks over there. French guys, imports. They've all played together for a very long time. So that pack, whilst it's big and athletic and strong, it's also got a lot of experience together. Sate went over there, what was it, 2020, maybe 21? So he's been over there for a long time now. All the French guys have played together for years. So all those forwards are very well versed in each other, and that's basically what this try was. We got Navarrete comes down. I mean, we were right on the Wakey try. Navarrete comes down, batters into that Wakefield defence. Similar to the Hamlin Airlie thing, really. Not quite as impressive, though, I will say. He's just soaking up defenders. He gets tackled, probably maybe 3 yards out from the line, and then Saté's just there. He's just ready for it. He's just there. He crashes over. I'd say he crashes over, but rather he kind of just slips over, to be honest, because there's no defence left. The defence are all still over on Navarrete. So Saté's just right there ready to pounce. This is like, it's old school stuff. Like nowadays, when you're on the try line, all the props are either right there next to the ruck, ready to smash that hole in behind the ruck, or they're just out the way, letting the backs take over. The kick, they'll kick it through. We'll let the backs take over. If someone scoops it up, we'll defend. This was like old school props in position, ready to go right at the line. The Nick Kotrick try at 72 minutes. Now, bear in mind, between that try at 42 and this try at 72, there's been 4 tries chalked off for one way or another for Catalans. There's a touch line, there's a knock on, there's just held up, there's all kinds of things that, and they don't count towards anything except the morale of the other team. It kind of gives you an indication of, well, all right, we fucked up at the last minute, but we got there. You let us get there. So, I'm kind of going to, like schoolyard bully tactics, I'm kind of on the front foot here. All right, maybe I didn't technically win, but, I got one on you. So this Nick Kotrick try, again, this game was full of tries, and that's why I picked this game to sort of go through today. This Kotrick try on 72 minutes, I think this was again where they're missing a winger on the other side, so they're obviously focusing on this side. Now the play itself starts from again about 40 yards out, maybe 40 meters out. So they probably weren't even necessarily looking to score a try immediately from this, but boy did they. So it's just a very simple passage of hands. Now Kotrick's actually maybe like 12 or 15 meters in at the time that he does it, and this is why I think the wing position's so underrated, because you think, oh, we'll just put a fast guy out there, but this was really, really good wing work from Kotrick. He doesn't take the easy line, the safe line inwards. He actually runs out towards the wing, thinking he can skate around it. Lino is there, present in defence, for some reason, and he gets him. He gets hold of him. But what Kotrick does in classic wing style, similar to like what a Liam Marshall would do, or even Tommy on the other side, perhaps. He doesn't avoid the defender. He actually engages with him, holds him off, legs pumping, like all the time, making progress. And at the point where he realises that Lino's actually fully committed to that tackle, he rolls off it. Lino's on the ground. Kotrick's through on the try line. That gets converted. We're now I think now it's 2018 because of Catalan's penalty earlier on. So the final bits of regular time here were a penalty by Jarrett that came from the ruling really was an offside. So what happens is Josh Rourke has got the ball. He's running towards the try line. Yes, he does go to pass the ball out, and I don't know who was there. To be honest, I think if he gets the ball out at that point, it's a try. So Guillermo, the fullback, JB, is there, and he puts his arm out. It's classed as he touched the ball, but definitely what he did do is take Rourke's head off in the lead up. So, I mean, maybe that would have been a card. I don't know. I think that ultimately the score of the regular time game ends the same. They get a penalty whether he took his head off or whether he knocked it forwards, and I think it's Remus Smith picks it up offside. Either way, that's a penalty. Either way, they kick it. But maybe GAB could have got a card for that. Just it's quite a high hand on Josh Rourke, and he does it the deck, doesn't milk it. gets on with it. But either way, that ties us up at 20 apiece going into Golden Point extra time. And what happens here is basically Lino just fucks up. He didn't need to do it. It's a stupid thing, and the thing is, he knows that he did it as well. So as soon as he goes in for a tackle, he goes really high, really hard, kind of reckless, really. I think it's on Aspiro Bichet as well. Whoever it's on, Lino goes really high. He knows immediately what he's done, because when the referee blows the whistle, you can see him kick off. And it's kind of like, you doth protest a bit too much. So he gets the yellow. His team is hard-working, well-connected. Touch Rugby, newly promoted team, are they're a man down in Golden Point extra time. And that's a very dangerous place to be. What happens next is something that I really enjoy, because it doesn't happen all that often. So Catalans get the penalty. We're a little bit far out to actually kick it, so they get the territory. And at this point now, we've not all been there. We've all seen it happen. At that point now, all the focus is on just get the kicker, get the kicker, get the kicker. We know it's going to probably be Kiri who goes for this drop goal. He scored one before earlier in the season against Saints, of course. So Kiri gets the ball. The defence pounce on him, and he just fires it out to Smith. Now Smith gets over the line, and it's given us a try. I probably, for a bit of excitement, would have liked that to be given as a double movement. I think it was very, very marginal whether it was a double movement or not. If it had have gone up as double movement, there's no way it would have got chalked off. Yes, he broke the tackle, but he was kind of wriggling a little bit after the tackle was made. Well, I'm not a referee, whatever. But I do like a Golden Point try. I think it's ambitious, because you could win it with a drop goal, but you chose to go for the exciting try. Whether or not that try was legitimate, I don't know, but Catalans massively had the momentum at that point, so it was looking like they were going to win it anyway. It would have been exciting for Wakey to get a second Golden Point victory, or a second drop goal victory in 2 weeks, though, wouldn't it? That would have been great. But a lot of positives coming out of that game. I think particularly for Wakefield, positives are obviously players linking up just all the time, and they've got this young hooker. I think Harvey Smith. He's excellent. He's really, really one to watch for the future. He did a run from dummy half that made probably like 30 meters at one point during the game. It was just so well executed, and for a young kid, it's really, really good. All right, so that's the Wakey game. Let's have a look at the table coming out of round 9. It is a bit of a settler, really, wasn't it? Round 9. Round 8 was rivals round was massive. Round 9, bit of a settler. There's only really Wakefield nudged a spot down. Warrington nudged a spot up. I do think Wakefield can come back. I think one of the things about Wakefield is they are missing one of their key halves. So once he comes back, I think that kicking game is going to develop a little bit, and then they'll start to surprise people again, like they did earlier in the season. So largely, luckily somehow Saints are holding on there at 5. Hull FC still in at 4, despite both those teams getting really, really taught a lesson at the weekend. Warrington climb up a little bit, fair enough, well deserved. And the bottom of the table is just it feels comfortable, doesn't it? It feels set. All I'm waiting for is for Huddersfield to just get that one victory. I don't know who it would be against. Perhaps Salford, to be honest. Salford beat them once, but can they do it again? I don't know. Let's have a look at points scorer. So Percival's still up there amazingly, but Adam Kieran had a pretty good game at the weekend as well, and so he's hot on Percy's tails there with just 3 conversions realistically behind him. Percy obviously scored a couple of tries at the weekend, so that's pushed him up a little bit. J Field, look at that! How amazing is that? So obviously the kickers: Percy, Kieran, Lewis, Smith, Morg, Jake Connor. They're all up there. J Field is just a try scorer. He doesn't kick yet he's there, right there, 4th in the point scoring charts, and he's of course number 1 in the try scoring charts. Matty Ashton, I'm actually glad to see his name creeping up the charts there. Lewis kind of goes under the radar, doesn't he? I know everyone knows Lewis, but he really scores tries. So good on you, Lewis. They're the try scorers. I really am glad to see Riley Lum in there as well. I've been a big fan of him all season. Really, he's just really working hard. Another young gun in there, Harry Robertson, who hasn't played for 4 games. So good on you, Harry. I think that's that. Hate to say it, that's that Salford hangover, isn't it, from that first game when he just, scored a million tries. All right, so that was round 9. We got Magic Weekend coming up next. You'll see my predictions for that later in the week. But until then, head over to Spotify, X, and have a good week, guys.